Well, namaste, swagatam, vanakam, welcome, good afternoon once again. Welcome to Sampurna, Australia. As we are joining again, we welcome you to join us again on another topic of fear and relationships. Welcome you to a place where it is a place for journey to wholeness. So we just want to welcome you, invite you to our time together. Thank you for joining us from wherever you are on YouTube, on Sampurna Australia channel. You can again get in touch with us through the chat there, and we'd love to hear from you. You can see some of our details here online on the screen, and please, we'd like to hear from you to know where you, how you're doing, how you've been coping during COVID, and thankfully, here in Australia, things may come a little bit back to normal from Monday, so that's a good thing. But we'll be still be doing this Saturday afternoons, and we'd love to hear from you and get in touch with you. We'd like to know how you've been coping as well and what you've been doing. Please drop us a line, send us an SMS, give us a call on 0478 791 119. So welcome again. Thank you for joining us. Just Sampurna, again, just a place where we journey to wholeness. So we want you to invite you on that journey and just to be whole again, to be free again, to be blessed, and then to share that blessing with others as well. So thank you for joining us. Today we have two friends again who are joining us. Kay Fisher, you have met a couple of times. Let me stop sharing. Excuse me. Let me stop that. So Kay Fisher, you have met last week as well, and the week before. You're not wearing your Indian attire today, I noticed. Oh, that's a shame, but that's good. Good to have you, Kay, and and Charles as well. Welcome, Charles. Welcome, Kay. Good to have you both and to share your experiences in with fear and relationships and how it has affected relationships. So let me start with Kay. Uh, Last week we didn't get a chance to share a lot, but before I start with Kay, actually I do want to share. I want to thank Josephine's there. She's around, and just want to thank Josephine for her sharing last week. One of the things that I remember, and she refreshed my memory again this afternoon, is how important it is to name that fear, to be able to go back and to process it and to actually point your finger on what you are feeling, and the emotion that you're going through. And I think sometimes maybe um, we hide the emotion, we try to put it under the rug, or just think that it's gone or it doesn't exist, but it does affect us. And I'm just grateful for Josephine to remind us to actually go, and even though it's uncomfortable, to be able to actually pinpoint what you're going through, what you're feeling. In saying that, that is something that has helped Josephine to deal with fear, and in her workplace, as you remember from last week. So I just wanted to ask Kay as well, and just last week we didn't get much of a chance to hear Kay's story. So I'll ask Kay, invite Kay to share a little bit of her story again, to recap, and then to share how what she did to help in her journey from fear. Thank you, Kay.
Yeah, thank you, Russell. So my journey with fear really began when I was studying part of a degree, and I had a lecturer who just was she seemed to take an instant dislike to me from day one, and I don't know why. And it just got worse throughout the year as it progressed. And it left me feeling in a place I felt very isolated, very alone. Like, I couldn't do this, I couldn't do that, I wasn't capable. And I actually became really scared of attending class, very scared of seeing this lecturer. And it was a long process, but over time I managed to, through praying and talking to my family and going to see the head of the department, I managed to overcome it and sort of in the end sort of become friends with her, which was good.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you for sharing that. It was quite, yeah. The last time you shared a little bit more, and you were sharing how quite traumatic it was, basically,
Mm.
the way that you were treated. So how what did you do? What was your process? What was the process that got you through all of this, that is helping you deal with what has happened?
So for me, it was reminding myself that I was a very good student and that I was capable of doing the work. maybe not just in that environment. Maybe had it been, another lecture or something, things would have been a lot easier. But I had to really remember that I was capable of doing it, and knowing that there were support in place. I could talk to my parents, I could talk to the faculty, the head of faculty, who were all very helpful, and knowing that and even through the whole process, through the reporting and the making the report, even though nothing happened, there was no penalty given. I felt good and comforted that any student who came after me, who maybe have this lecturer, hopefully I would have been able to make things a bit easier for them, and that this person would learn to treat every student the same, regardless of whether you think they're up to it or not. Yeah.
That's interesting. And I was just thinking as you're sharing, nothing happened when you made that complaint, like you said. How did you feel as you went through, like when at the moment, at least when you tried everything and nothing happened? What were you feeling? What were you thinking? Was your fear getting worse? Was your fear getting, how was it?
Is this when I was making the report?
When you made the report and nothing happened, yeah?
So when I was making it, I felt really bad because I'm known as a student who doesn't like, I won't confront a lecturer or anything. If a professor says something, I just accept and move on. So for me to actually take the step of meeting with the faculty was big. And then for me to be willing, she said, well, do you want to report this? And me being able to say, yes, I do want to report them. And I felt very scared, because she's a very, she has quite a well-connected husband, and I knew that some other people had made complaints about certain lecturers, not in this faculty, but in other faculties, and due to internal politics and things, it had gone bad for them. And then when I was writing out the form, I got given the form to fill out, and I felt almost like no one would believe me. The way they sort of, the questions that was asked of me, kind of, are you sure, basically, are you sure this isn't in your head and you're just making it bigger? So I felt scared filling it out, and it took me a while to submit it. She actually had to ask me again if I wanted to submit the report, and eventually I submitted it. But the whole process was, I know that I was following protocol, but it just made me feel very scared. And once the report was in, I thought, well, that's it. It's done. It's out of my hands now. They said, do you want to find out the result? I said, no, I don't. I said, I just prefer to submit the report, leave it at that. And then I prayed, I said, Lord, thank you for giving me this chance to do this. And hopefully, this will make it easier for the students after me. And after that, I felt peace. Like I'd done my bit. I'd taken a step forward to make it easier for the other students after me, which felt good. And it took a while to actually, forgive this particular lecturer. And as I said in one of the other programs we did, when I went to a prayer seminar, women's prayer seminar, the next year, actually, this lecturer was in the crowd. And I first saw her and I was like, oh, all the old fears came back. And I said, all the people in the world, she did manage to single me out. And she came walking towards me and I was like, oh no, here we go again. But she came over and gave me a hug. And from that hug, it was kind of like an understanding was reached. So I wouldn't say we're friends as such, but we are, we can talk to each other and we're quite civil. And if we pass each other, we smile and wave. So that was good.
Thank you. I guess something that struck me, and I think for all of us, when we are afraid, I think something from your story that struck me was the courage that was needed to actually do something about it. And when we are afraid, that's the last thing that's on our mind, or it makes us more afraid to actually do something about it. And I just want to encourage everyone, who are watching or listening, would like to know your thoughts. Well, is it easy to do the courageous thing? It's fearful, and then that's why courage is the opposite of fear. But um, not necessarily the opposite of fear, but act, acting out even when there is fear, actually doing something about it. And that's, I think, Kay's story, and that was a really yeah, very commendable of you to actually do it, and actually see that through, even though people may have been doubting what you're saying, you're sharing. That again plays with our mind. And so I know I just want to encourage people out there, if you're in a difficult situation, in a difficult relationship, whether it be at home, whether it be at workplace, at school, um, take the courage and ask God for courage, even to be able to make that stand. Just to share, not to be rude, not to be vindictive, not to be revengeful in any way, but you need to do it, and for your own good, and maybe, and especially as Kay shared, which was really a blessing as well. So important, because sh maybe nothing happened to Kay and her case, but she's hoping that at least for someone else down the line, it would be something that would help them in their walk, so they didn't have to face the same things. And I think sometimes it's really difficult in this broken world we are living in. Things are very unfair all the time, a lot of time. Sometimes we've been unfair to other people too. And but at least if we can do something to help someone else as they come along, it brings some peace to us. And I think, like Kay shared, thank you for sharing that. I think that's really helpful for us in our journey, when we're going through difficult things, to maybe even to think of someone else, if nothing else happens, for our benefit. So thank you for sharing that, Kate. It's yeah, it was insightful, and how to deal with the things we go through. And glad that at least some relationship is formed back with your teacher as well. Yeah. Any other thoughts you'd like to share before I quiz Charles?
Not really.
No, thank you for sharing, Kate. I just want to introduce Charles as well. Sorry. Um, Charles has been here as well for a while. And if the last time, it was not last week, the week before, is that correct, Charles? That you shared your story of your dad? And
Yes,
and yeah. And so would you mind sharing a little bit more, or just remind us of the story, and how you are dealing with that fear particularly? That would be excellent. Thank you.
yes. Thank you, Russell, and thank you all the viewers who are watching us live, and those who are going to watch us um, in the days to come. Thanks, Russell, once again. I just want to remind the story that how I used to be scared of my father when I grew up in hostel. He was a very scary person to me, more than the teachers and the boarding master in hostel. I used to hide myself because he comes and checks me every day and time, and he comes over and I was very scared about his punishments. I hope you remember this story. Now, are you asking me about how I overcame the
If
fear?
if you can do a little recap of like a little bit of the story again, just so that maybe some who have not watched that program a couple of weeks ago, just a little one, a little bit, and then you can share a little bit of how your journey of dealing with that fear, and how what has helped you, so maybe it can be an encouragement to our viewers as well.
Sure. I was just telling about my father. My father is a tall, hefty, um, very gigantic gentleman. Anybody who sees him would have to stay a little longer, at least few feet away, because he looks like that.
Mm,
So I used to be very scared about his stature, and not only that, because of the way how he shows his uh, approach to me, and not just to me, but to people around. He shows that very powerful nature of himself. And I told that I wasn't hostile, um, but he used to come and check whether I'm a good student in the school and in the boarding that I lived. Even I would not be scared about my boarding master or the teachers who taught me in school, but I used to be very scared of my father. My father did not work in the school. He worked in the same town that I studied in the school. So my daddy can come to the school anytime to check whether I'm doing well in my academic or in my behavior in the school.
mhm,
So He had some of his friends who were my friends. He used to have sticks ready, cane ready always to give to my daddy to give some beatings to me.
Mm-hmm.
So dad used to come and check my papers and my notebooks and inquire about me to the boarding master or teachers. How am I going in my studies? I used to go hide myself.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Sometimes dad used to come in search of me, but he would not find me because I used to hide myself somewhere in the bush or somewhere in the hostel rooms because I was so scared about my daddy. Now, it really took me 35 years to realize that my dad is a loving dad. Um, the moment I remember my dad, what comes to my mind is not the love, but I was very scared about my father. But nearly after 35 years, in one of those instances in my house, something changed me. Something uh, made me to think that my dad is loving. Only when after I came to job, I found a job, and I started to look at myself. When I started to pay my own bill, when I started to take care of my own self and my expenses, and started to live myself, then I realized my dad had a purpose why he was always behind me. Okay, and I found that dad was the one who shouldered not just me but all the siblings in my house, in my family. He is not a rich man.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, he doesn't earn so much to feed the family. We are 7 in my family, and he has to take care of all the 7 children's education, day-to-day living expense, their food, their shelter, their clothing, their sickness, and pay for their travel, whatever that could be. When I grew up, I realized it is just on my dad's shoulder we leaned on. It is simply because of his hard work that we were fed, we had a house to live, we were able to live a comfortable life. In spite of our poverty, my dad never let us to go hungry even a single meal, which I did not realize in the past 35 years. Okay? When I started to pay my own bill for my own food, then I realized, wow, that father must be a great father who carried the whole family on his shoulder. Then I realized nobody understands a father's love. Nobody understands what goes on behind the scene to provide for the family. His hard work, whether it be sunlight or heavy rain or storm, or his hunger or thirst, his pain and sorrow was always hidden. He never showed to us that he suffers behind. He never had a proper a motorcycle to go to his work. He always had a bicycle,
Mm.
and he has to travel kilometers in the hot burning sun. He has to sweat, and he did not have proper food in his house. Whatever we had, he gave to the children. He ate what was left for him to eat. He ate whatever was left over by the children. He ate those, and he used to ride bicycle for nearly 5 or 6 kilometers. And then, after going to his work, he has to answer to many authorities and to the public and community. He has to walk down the streets and and just for to provide for the family, he has to give himself. So that love never came to my sight unless and until I found that it is the same way or more than how I suffered. And once I went to my father's office and found that he is not simply sitting in his office. He works day and night to provide for the family. And I lately found today I am what I am, it is because of my father's hard work. If my father had not come behind me to supervise me every day and night, I would not be the same. Sitting and giving an interview to you to show how my life has been fashioned and how good I am today in my life. And I am put in a better position than many others in the world to care for myself and for others. It is simply because of my father
Thank
and
you.
his love.
Yeah. Thank you, Charles. I guess one lesson, maybe something for us as Indians, as Southern Asians, as from Sri Lanka, from Pakistan, from Bangladesh, from India, from just the subcontinent. Um, I think maybe sometimes we like you mentioned many times we do not realize how much especially we recognize the work of our moms and the sacrifices of our mothers. We do generally, but I think we struggle with recognizing the hidden sacrifices, the hidden hard work that is being taken by our fathers. Um, and I think that would help us in our relationships. What do you think? How would what would you encourage young people to do today? I think I have a thought, but maybe if you have any thoughts that
Yes,
you'd like to share.
I have 5 points.
Yeah.
I want to go quickly because of time. Don't want to take a long time. In the South Asian or in the Indian subcontinent culture, parents never show their love in a loving way to their children. They show very harshly. They cover their burden behind and they show their hard face outside. That I don't know what's the reason behind, but I believe we can change that attitude. And parents has to let the children know the sufferings behind the parents. Of course, they will let the children know, but in a very loving, gentle way. That will create responsibility with the children, so the children will understand who their parents are.
Sorry, just to interrupt you, but
Yeah,
I think our parents, both moms and dads, they have sacrificed a lot. I know for myself as well. I can definitely um, agree to that and share that. But I think I I hardly think they share with their children what they are going through, and that's something like you just pointed out. I think they need to do that, not
they have to.
to, yeah, just so that we, like you said, like so that we can understand the responsibilities that they are carrying and maybe lighten the burden even a little bit, even just to show our love to them and to show our appreciation for them for what they do. Sometimes we take it for granted, and if they don't tell us, we have no idea, right? And we just take their, oh yeah, of course that's their duty, that's their responsibility to feed me or to do this or to do that.
Yeah.
And I think we miss a lot. And I mean, I'm grateful to our parents for the sacrifice, but I think it would change us a bit more for good if we knew a little bit more of their sacrifice when we are growing up,
Yes.
even as we are growing
Yes.
up. Yeah.
Yes. I suggest that our parents at home must give a month's expense. I mean, the duties of home to the teenage children and guide them through and say, give the money in their hand and let them pay a monthly fee,
Hmm.
and take care of the home expenses. Allow them to do
Hmm.
and tell, here is the month's salary, pay electricity bill, pay house rent, pay for your fee, and supervise them. Let them not spend money as they wanted, but supervise them. So I think that will create responsibility with the children.
Hmm.
And number two, let let your children know the motives behind the parents. It seems that sometimes parents are very harsh, but they don't know why they are harsh. So children are in doubt.
Hmm.
Let the parents teach the children that this is why, and that's why they are treating you in such a way that the children may grow responsible and know why they are doing so.
Hmm.
Number three, let the parents teach. the burden of a family. Let the parents teach their financial status to children and know this is our family. We can afford only this much.
Mm.
And let the parents teach the children to be satisfied with what we have.
Yeah.
If not, children may go away. They don't know what's going on in the family. They don't know their financial condition. They don't know their financial status. They expect more and they fail more. So let parents teach the burden. Number 4, let day-to-day life of parents be shown to children very kindly. Now, parents always accuse children, saying, I am paying your fee, I am feeding you, I am taking care of you, so you must do what I say. That is not what parents must do. And I see this in the South Asian culture. But parents must tell the children, I am doing this because I love you. Okay, so let there be love between the parents and the children, not overpowering each other. I know my own siblings feel that because my parents are paying my fee, they're dominating. Or I am an elder brother, because I take care of them, I dominate them. That's the way we talk. Although we are loving, but our approach is different.